The older someone gets, the less, I believe, the less they feel useful to society and the less they feel valued and the less they believe people want to listen to what they have to say, even though they're the ones we should be listening to.
Do only things that you money is not on the first place. We need to fix it now. In other case, I think it would be like a catastrophe.
I could literally disrupt several different legacy businesses by myself with agents running everything on their own.
A lot of people are so lonely, they don't have any human nearby, sadly, that interacting with AI actually makes their life a little bit easier, a little bit more happy.
Why should people care about taking care of senior citizens?
I think that if we don't care now, the system of healthcare and care about seniors will be completely broken. I actually think that we don't have much time to solve this problem, and actually, I think we need to do it now.
But aren't there many other things that are really urgent as well?
Absolutely. I think there are plenty of in our current world, but that's one of the biggest problems, I think, because usually healthcare system was based on a lot of working people who finance people who got retired, but currently the share of senior population, I think, is growing rapidly, and this system, the previously many years ago built system, won't work. So we need to fix it now. In other case, I think it will be like a catastrophe. Yeah, at least in countries like United States, in Western Europe.
How is AI enabling that support for senior citizens?
I don't. I wouldn't say that AI is the only 100% solution, but my way of thinking is following. One of Usually I say following. It's not a question whether to use AI or technology in this space or not. The main problem is um, the deficit of people, nurses, doctors, other stuff. So AI could take some of their responsibilities and and do it with the help of technology. So again, it's not 100% solution, but at least we can use AI for some of the jobs.
How are senior citizens actually responding to this kind of technology? Because for me, it seems like simplistic, but they're different.
Absolutely. And actually, when we started, I was really concerned about that, and I didn't think whether will work or not. But I think one of the hacks was to use ordinary phone call as an interface. Actually, that was our starting point. We don't use any applications, any software, and that was a smart move because obviously phone call is the common routine for senior population. Secondly, actually, uh, a lot of people are so lonely they don't have any human nearby. Sadly, that interacting with AI actually makes their life a little bit easier, a little bit more happy. A lot of people share their memories. I don't know, they have someone to um, chat about their hobbies. Again, we don't position the product as a substitution of the humans. It's not our way of thinking. But AI could be there in the moment when there is no human nearby. For example, we had one lady. She got up like 4 a.m. For some reason very frequently, and she didn't have anyone nearby just to support her to have a chat. So again, AI isn't like addition to humans, not a substitution, in my opinion.
I love how you had the idea to kind of remove the UI from the situation. I think that a lot of companies now are racing to do something like that. Not competing with you. I'm seeing just in particular, this idea of they call it the SaaSpocalypse, where these UI based monthly subscription websites are dying because people are building agentic versions of those software. And so I think it's really great because I've been building several things And I've built them all with the traditional SaaS mindset. But then when I built them, I said, crap, these need to be agentic. So now I'm going back and going, okay, how can I make these agentic in a way that we can over time remove the UI from it? So I think starting from a no UI system is a really fantastic way to get something moving.
Yeah, and actually, it was like, how to say it, natural. We didn't think about that in the beginning. Actually, the company started when my co-founders they built an app, not specifically for elderly adults. The idea was to build an assistant which could, I don't know, like make a reservation in the restaurant, make calls, and other kind of stuff. And organically, seniors started to use it, and that was the point where it started. And like many years ago, when I had first ideas of building a product here, I tested a lot of things with my aging grandpa, who was very smart professor, but he was not digitalized at all. And the only interface that worked at that time was voice. Of course, there was no time of voice AI, but voice interface worked. That's why that made us think, okay, maybe we can use voice. Of course, using like ordinary phone calls doesn't sound like very innovative, but it works. And I think like at this point it could work, and later we could be like multimodal. I don't know, implemented in Alexa, implemented in robots when they will be ready. But my strategic bet is on voice AI because it's not just easier for not digitalized people, but for example, when you're getting old, you're starting to have some problems with your eyes, for example, yeah, and other kind of stuff. And actually, here voice AI could be very helpful. I think. For example, I can give you a small example. Recently, we were reached by a like association of uh, deaf seniors. There is one in the United States, and that made me thought that AI could be very useful with people with different kind of disabilities. And actually, I think frequently we even don't think about these people, and there are a lot of them. For example, we had some blind users, and for them, voice AI actually is the only interface that could work for them.
Yeah, I think on the deaf side, it's a lot harder because they need a UI, right?
Yeah, yeah. And actually, that would be an interesting challenge for us. That our basic answer was to use SMS, maybe in the beginning, maybe some app, but we will think. Yeah, it's again, I don't have an answer now, but it sounds for me like an interesting challenge. What could be an interface?
Well, essentially, you need a computer vision system that can read the hand movements that they make, assuming I mean, if they're deaf, I imagine they're able to sign. So it has to be able to recognize what kind of sign they're using because there's dialectual signature. There's not just American Sign Language, obviously. And there's even regional sign language within the US, and then every other country has their own sign language systems. So you have to
No.
recognize where the person's from and therefore what version of sign language they're using, and then be able to interpret that into something that where then you have some animated system that's signing back to them or writing on the page for them to read. So that's like extremely complicated. And that's why a lot of these people are ignored because it's very hard to serve them.
It's very interesting. We will have a call soon with them, and the person on other side is deaf as well. But she said that she has some special software to make video calls. So I'm looking forward to understand how it works and if our solution could help here as well.
When I was in university, I did salsa dancing classes. And
Mhm.
there was a woman who was deaf. And you'd think, how can a woman who's deaf learn to dance? Because if she can't hear the calls from the leader or she can't communicate with the person who's leading her, right? How is she going to be able to do that? And she taught me how to sign. And I realized that she wasn't listening to the beat because she couldn't. She was feeling the beat from the speakers hit her body.
Wow.
So she could feel the music going through her, and that's something that as someone who can hear, you never think to feel that. So I thought it was fascinating the way she interacted with the world.
Interesting. Actually, I think it's very close to the problems that elderly adults face, because usually we, again, before the period when I spent a lot of time with my aging grandpa, I didn't imagine how the world is not completely adapted. I understand that it depends on the countries, of course, but in general, even now, like applications like Uber or Lyft, they're completely not adapted for elderly adults. I don't know why.
Because the largest segment of people that pay are us, normal abled people who are young.
Maybe, but there are like I think more than 50 or 60 million elderly adults in the United States, big segment of population. And the biggest thing that I saw, I think it was on the lift, like bigger fonts or something like that in the application.
Mm.
I don't know why. And just a small example. Actually, there are some companies that work with elderly adults with whom we got talks, and I know they have business like for 5 years, 10 years, and we asked them, okay, we're doing this stuff. Why don't you use AI? You're more experienced, you have more capital, and they share with us, we would love to, but we have so much legacy. I know we have like 600 people in operations. We just can't change it. It's a very complicated task to transform your business with an AI, and I was surprised with that.
Yeah, and those people are going to get disrupted by companies that don't have that problem.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like in the last month, I've literally created 3 different softwares that could all be commercialized, and they're all agentic. I could literally disrupt several different legacy businesses by myself with agents running everything on their own. If I really wanted to, if I really had the ability, I could run 3 businesses simultaneously without much input from myself. Just like that.
Amazing, amazing. I just love the world in which we live now. It's just you have an idea and you can go and realize it without any like developers, any big teams, any capital. That's amazing.
Yeah, the problem is the builder trap, right? Because I have an idea and then I build it, right? So you got to commercialize. But I'm building things that solve my problem in a way that can also solve other people's problems.
It's the best way, I think,
Yeah.
because you understand much better the problem itself. But I think the best thing is that you can test a lot of hypotheses now. Okay, maybe something won't work, but maybe something will work. Why not? You just spent, I don't know, one day or week to build something, and you can test it.
Exactly. Where it used to take years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of guessing.
Absolutely. Even now, when I don't know, I'm building like decks or landing pages, very simple task. I'm so happy each time that I don't have to spend any time with designers, copywriters, developers. I'm just doing things on my own. That's amazing.
Just make sure you ban EM dashes
Mhm.
because websites have EM dashes on them.
Mhm.
And then it's like obviously written by an AI.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about what you do?
I think the hardest thing is commercialization, as you mentioned, because a major part of companies in this space, they are B2B focused, obviously because money are in insurance companies mainly. Uh, and when you're an early stage company, B2C track requires money for user acquisition, obviously, and it's not easy. And for B2B, you're too early, it's very hard to reach the right companies and the right people. So I think that is the hardest way here, because strategically we believe that we could be a good source uh, for preventive medicine, because even now we track a lot of health related things during conversations, and we see that healthcare system in the United States slowly changing its direction to prevention. But imagine how difficult it's for a small company to reach big insurance players. It's very hard. But yeah, so I think that is the hardest thing here is to find the right business model. And I think another point here, which is close, uh, the healthcare system in the United States is so complicated. Uh, uh, every person whom I'm talking to is specialized in one particular zone, and no one have has the general picture. And it's different between the states, the bills, the finance. It's very complicated.
I want to switch gears real fast and ask you a question about product.
Mhm.
About 15 years ago, I interviewed my grandmother. I took my camera, I sat her down in her apartment, and I started interviewing her. I did a few videos, they're like 30, 40 minutes long each. My goal was to capture her story in the hopes that filling in the gaps that she provides, along with what I know of her life, after she dies, which she's still alive, she'll be 93 this year. But after she dies, there will be a way to kind of recreate her through AI.
Mhm.
But at the time, AI didn't exist in a commercially useful way. So the idea was like, oh, maybe there's a way to like have a website where people could upload information about their deceased loved one, or they could prepare information about the person before they die, so that afterwards there's like this information hub about this person, so that if your kids are really small or they're when they have kids, like that person never gets forgotten.
Yeah,
That person can remain relevant in the lives of the family.
yeah.
Have you considered using the inputs from your customers to simultaneously in the back end create a knowledge base about that person that could then fill in gaps and create this artificial persona with the permission of the family later on?
Uh, I will start with the fact that there are companies that are doing like this. I don't know, making digital portraits of, if we can say that in the following way, and it's a great idea. For us, we think about implementing it. I think it's a great idea, but it's an interesting challenge, or how to say it, ethical question here, whether there is a burden between privacy and, I don't know, and which information we can use to keep it. But in general, I like very much this idea, because usually, I don't know, for example, in my example, unfortunately, I didn't spend a lot of time to ask the right questions to my grandfathers and grandmas, and being able to make it uh, when they were with us would be great. I think it's great feature. It's not like the core part of the product, but it could be done on the back, as you mentioned, because if we have these conversations, we can build stories behind that and use it in different ways. I saw an interesting idea. It was not like a big company, but one girl, I saw it on Instagram. She used audio recordings of seniors. Some of them passed away, some of them not, and she generated with an AI fairy tales for children. Just they were generating fairy tales, and in some parts, the recording of the voices was used, and that was also one of the ways to keep our beloved ones in our lives as well. But I saw a lot of people who were sharing their memories with an AI. Some veterans, some, I think everyone has a lot of stories, interesting stories to share, their experience, their lives. It's very interesting to hear.
So the way I would imagine it working for your system is that if your AI is conversational and proactively conversational, it can say, "Hey, tell me about this time, right? What was it like during this time of your life? What was it like this?" So it tries to learn about the person, and it can build those stories in the back end by collating the information and the stories and things like that they are asked to share.
That's actually something where I spent a lot of hours, because there is some science and research behind that. Because I wanted to make this voice AI be engaging and know which conversational topics are more engaging for the elderly, uh, and how to make these conversations interesting. Actually, that's why we have a couple of PhD gerontologists in the advisory board, and maybe that is something that differentiates us from the products. I don't know if we go the right way, but my idea is to provide value for the elderly adults. how we can not just solve practical things like ordering taxi, ordering groceries, but how to make a helpful assistant for them, an engaging assistant. Of course, that will be not something that will solve all the problems of loneliness and social isolation, but I think it could be helpful in many ways.
The reason why I suggested why I've thought about it is because you you want people to remain social,
Mhm.
and people love talking about themselves. And the older someone gets, the less I believe, the less they feel useful to society, and the less they feel valued, and the less they believe people want to listen to what they have to say, even though they're the ones we should be listening to.
Absolutely. And I have like, I wouldn't say ideas but dreams, but maybe with the development of the product we could generate more ideas how we can use this wisdom, this knowledge. For example, I have a very basic example. I think there were some projects that were matching lonely elderly adults and like small children uh, who need like nanny. Yeah, that's the basic example, but I think we could find a lot of uh, great ideas how we can use this knowledge and this experience.
I don't see why the AI is not capable of assessing their physical and mental abilities to say, hey, there's an opportunity to volunteer at an elementary school nearby, and this person is mentally fit and physically fit. They're capable of actually doing this, and it would be meaningful to their daily existence. They are able to actually get to that school and do it.
I think maybe like in Japan is a great example where elderly adults are used in many volunteer jobs. For example, when children go to school or go after school, they have to
Across the street.
wait on the roads, and I think they're not paid for that, but it gives them the role in the society and they feel that they're needed.
I think they should be paid for that.
Ideally, yes. I don't know if they're paid in Japan, but the idea is cool.
I mean, there's people that do this in the US, but generally it's their job.
I see.
I don't know what they're getting paid, probably not much, but they're getting paid something. And I think that in itself, is really important because as well, when you get older, if you don't have an ability to earn income and you don't have that much saved, especially in the US, it's really hard for people to retire these days. So if you give them something that's meaningful, that's enjoyable, they can build relationships if they're seeing those kids every day, as an example, that's just one thing, and they're able to make, they're able to spend that time doing something they like and they get paid for that, then it means that there's a little bit less stress in their life as well.
And I think there are a lot of open questions here because many people say that people live and will live longer nowadays. So the many people will change many times their careers and the way what they're doing in the world. So there are very interesting open questions. When we get older, what will we do? What will be our role in the society? It's very interesting.
And we're constantly figuring that out until we're too old to figure it out anymore.
Yeah.
And the question is, what do you want to be when you get older? I'm like, I'll be 40 in a few weeks. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up.
I'm 36 and I still don't know frequently.
Yeah, I just want to create. I just want to have ideas and create those ideas and watch them help people.
Absolutely.
What is it that drives you?
You mean in particularly in this product or in general?
General.
It's a very good question. I'm from family of doctors, and I actually planned to become a doctor, but changed my decision in high school. Uh, so I think I'm the person for whom it's very important to make something good in the world. Uh, and working and helping elderly adults, that was something that still inspires me more than 10 years because the idea came up to me like 10 years ago and I was observing what can I do, and only like last year I understood that voice AI and AI in general is something that could be used here. And I'm very passionate about elderly adults, and I still have this example and memories about my grandpa, uh, and that inspires me. If I can build something that will make lives of elderly adults still a little bit easier, a little bit happier, I would be very happy. And I'm very inspired by these people. For example, this generation of 20s, they're completely different, and I respect them.
What do you mean by this generation of 20s?
I can share with my example of my grandpa. So he was born in late 20s. He went through the war when he was a kid, uh, and he was a professor of psychiatry, and he uh, learned and shared his knowledge during his whole life, and he worked until his late years, I think, until 90. Like, I think, current generation, at least in my example, it's different, but they're like, they were stubborn, brave, they worked a lot. He still is a great example for me.
What's the most important thing you've learned from him?
I think the most important thing is from him was to learn every day. He was very smart and intelligent in all the areas, not just psychiatry and medicine. I don't know, like opera, books. So he influenced a lot on my education and my way of life.
What do you think the most important thing you've learned in life in general to date?
Do only things that you love. Money is not on the first place.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this insight, I've handpicked another video for you right here on the screen. For more actionable strategies that get you real results, hit subscribe.